Hi everyone, my name is Stella and I decided to start a booktube channel. My first video, I was actually not going to do this, but then I recently found it and so I decided it would be a good way to start. So the first question is, why did I start this channel? Actually, up until a couple months ago, I didn't even know booktube existed. I was actually looking for stuff about the Raven Boys cycle, and I went to look up some reviews and I found it, and then I started watching all of these different reviews on books I've already read or books that I wanted to read, and I thought that it would be something I was really interested in because I love to read and there's no one I can talk to about with reading. And so I decided that one of the ways I could get myself to read more and interact more with the characters in my books or in the books that I'm reading, so I decided to start this channel. What are some fun and unique things I can bring to booktube? I actually want to try building places and people and buildings in The Sims 4 based off my books. Or based off the books I'm reading. I don't know why I keep saying my books. Yeah, so I just feel also like I have a lot of ideas about things that I want to talk about, and everyone on YouTube is always talking about like how they feel towards the characters and the settings and the places, and I feel like that's one of the things I could do because everyone has their own ideas and everyone has their own opinions on what is good, what is bad, and I feel like I can bring some of those things into my channel also. What am I most excited for about this new channel? Reading. I feel like it's gonna motivate me to read a lot of books that I normally don't read or I don't get to read because sometimes I get into a rut and I don't read. I could just like go for like a year or two without reading, and the moment I get back into reading, so sad that I just quit, and I don't want to do that. And there's so many things that I've missed when I haven't read that I feel like this channel will keep me motivated. It'll give me lists of what to read, and it will also allow me to get angry at books that I don't like, and instead of quitting reading altogether, I can just read something else. Why do I love reading? Despite getting into these ruts where I don't read, I just love being able to explore a new place and things that can never happen in real life, because then I kind of learn things about these characters because they're just like us. They're just in a different place, as different circumstances and different experiences, and we can still learn a lot from reading about these people. And I feel like another way to change the world is by learning who these people are and getting to know them, because then you either want to be like them or you don't want to be like them. So the next question is, what book or series got me into reading? I have always read. There has never been a time where I didn't love reading. One of the first books I remember reading was probably The House of the Scorpion. I forgot who wrote it. It's about this clone, and it's like set in like futuristic Mexico, and it's one of those books that I really love, and I reread it over and over and over again. And then I also liked The Giver. I liked Harry Potter, and Rice's Interview with the Vampire Lestat. I was reading like more like supernatural. One of the first books that got me really into loving like adult fantasy was the Night Angel trilogy by Brent Weeks, and I feel like that's one of the books that actually started getting me out of my like comfort zone of reading young adult and kids novels in middle grade. Yeah, so I think everything that I read that I liked got me into reading. So my next question is, what would I ask my favorite booktubers? I would ask them if, after years of doing this or long term, if they ever get bored, if they ever feel like it's not something they ever want to do again. I think that's just a question for YouTubers in general, because I know a lot of them, they've done it for over 10 years and they're always coming up with new stuff, and it's just more like, do they ever not want to do it? Like, does it make them want to do it more after so many years of doing it? Do they ever get discouraged when they first start out and there's like no one watching their videos? So the next question is, what challenges do I think will be the hardest to overcome on a booktube channel? Probably making videos. It's really weird talking to a screen and talking to no one, basically, because I don't even know if anyone is going to watch these videos. And I like already made an outline of like what kind of videos I want to do, what I want to talk about, and I think it's really making those videos regardless of who's watching, because I was watching a lot of YouTubers, booktubers, and they said that one of the reasons they make these videos is they get to keep track of what they're reading. And I would hate making a list of everything I've read, everything I want to read, because then I just kind of stare at the list and it's too long. But then making these videos, it's like I can go back and I can see how much I've read, and I don't have to like look at a list and look at a ton of names. I can watch videos and laugh at myself. And I think also another thing would be actually being consistent. Like, it's hard to do a lot of stuff throughout the day if you're a student, or if you're going to work, or you have other responsibilities. Making a video and finding time to make a video is hard. I'm doing this at 2 in the morning because it's the only time that I probably don't procrastinate as much as every other time of the day, and no one is around to get to distract me. So I think that's one of the hardest things to do, is talk to a screen, make videos, be consistent about it. The next question is, when did I start reading? I have always read. Apparently, I would sit in a car and I would read aloud street signs. And my parents thought I was crazy until they realized what I was reading. I would read just these weird pamphlets or books or posters that are on like the doctor's walls about like medical stuff. I would just read everything. I think I think that's it. The next question is, where do I read? Honestly, I read everywhere. I will read eating food. I will read at like my car. Like, I'll just sit in my car and I'll read from a book, or I'll read from my phone. I could be in like any kind of waiting rooms at the doctor's. I'll be waiting at a restaurant for food. And sometimes I'll be like sitting with my friends and we're all like doing something, or we're doing nothing and we're on our phones, and I'll be there reading a book. The last question is, what kind of books do I like to read? I used to read a lot of middle grade when that was my age. And then I read a lot of young adult. And it wasn't until recently that my friend introduced me to Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson, and that got me into crazy like adult fantasy. Like, that's all I want to read. My brain has suddenly did like a full 360 and I don't want to read anything else. But I mean, I do read The Raven Cycle. I've read it like 3 times already, and I think it's just like, depending what it is probably what I'll read. But I think my preference at the moment would be just adult fantasy, but I'm open to everything and anything except probably like history and nonfiction. That's the last of them, and you're gonna see hopefully a lot more of me if I'm able to be consistent about it.